December, and then it got short sold. So it started, and it went through a couple of issues with a lawsuit. But it's a sports network that's based in gambling on the back end. So it's kind of like a mixture of, think ESPN with DraftKings, and that's their business model. So they've been growing
Yeah.
pretty fast. But it seems like a promising company. I mean, betting is where it's at. It's a way that, through technology is going to grow no matter what. People love to gamble. Um, you see it in regular investing into the stock market. Um, but this is a good point, though, Todd. Thanks for bringing up Fubo. Will, give us a check in. What's going on with you, bro?
Similar to Todd, a lot of the plays that we were in, I stuck it out through that February, the February drop, and it's. I mean, I'm in a holding pattern. I'm playing the long game with a lot of the things that I'm in. So I'm just taking a step back and just letting everything play out.
Got it.
I kind of want to shift a little bit of focus. Prior to that dip, I was taking a lot more risks, and I knew eventually I was going to pull it back in. I was hoping I had more time. So going forward, I'm going to look at that strategy of taking a little bit less risk and picking better positioned companies and less speculative.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Thanks, Will. And on that note, Dawn, that's one of the things that we shared through the process of us starting this group. A lot of folks was jumping in and really looking at opportunities to get, quick money, and really this investing in the stock market is a long-term game. Unless you have tools, unless you're day trading and you have the same tools that some of these investment hedge fund managers are using to really understand the strike points and the patterns. So we've been shifting the gears, as Will mentioned, into getting into some of these companies that are, long term. Google,
Yeah. Apple.
Nvidia, Apple, all the things that are. I tell everybody, it's like, your money that you have in your checking account getting 0.1%. You could just buy into these stocks that are really not going anywhere.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Makes sense.
Vicky, talk to us. What's going on?
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, pretty good week. I actually noticed that you have NVIS on the list to talk about today, and
Yes.
I actually end up selling after all this time because I reached my goal. I got like 1,800%. And I just was like, okay, I got to pull the plug on this now because I wanted to, invest in something else. So
Nice.
I have no regrets because it was part of, I reached my goal. And then
Wait, you got 1,800% or 18%?
No. Remember, I bought it when it was $1.16 or something.
Oh,
it was crazy. So and I kept watching, and I had made a goal, like once it gets to 17, I was going to sell. So it went up to 18 or something, and I sold. So, yeah.
Great. Absolutely. And those are the types. So Vicky, so those, as a money manager, this is where it becomes tricky, because when you're playing with that much house money, you can either sell half and just hold on to the rest and have that be a long-term stock. Remember, MVIS is the future. They make all the sensors and self-driving cars. So
yeah, I probably should have done that.
But it's I think it's so funny. It dipped down to 11 last week, and I forgot to buy. I was gonna buy it when it dipped down to 11, and now it's like 17. So I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to put that on a list, and let's do some recon.
It got up to. I sold it when it went up to 18, and I was just like, boom, I pulled the trigger. So
nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
I would like for everybody, we talk about this, and we've never really had a session. It brought up numerous times, but stop losses and trailing stops. Like, I want folks going forward to really get a handle on that, because as Ty and Will mentioned, and myself included with Fubo, there's stocks that you want to hold on long term, but when they reach a point where you've lost half of what you've invested, it should never go beyond that. So you want to definitely have a trail and stop. And then if it's something that you're really tied to, at least write it down and take notes and go back in when it's at that proper stage, when it's starting to recover. So so I would like for everyone, while we're on the call, to something that they're upping in their portfolio, to put a trail and stop on it. And and generally 15-20% is a good buffer. If it's a growth stock, 15% is good. If it's a more volatile stock like MVIS was over the last few months, then maybe you want to put a 20% stock percentage trail and stop. But Dawn, I don't know if you're familiar with that. We went over this a couple of times, but I wanted everyone to get into that lane. And Will, I know you mentioned that you there's a few things that you have put a trail and stop on. You there's a few things that you forgot to put a trail and stop on. I just wanted to get a sense of where everyone is on managing their portfolio and stocks that they're up in.
So my biggest hits are my biggest hits is plug, and plug I have an option on it. That's why it's a big hit. And the trailing stops and those type of stops are different when it comes to options. They don't really even have those type of safeguards in the play. And then also when you're playing with an option, you blink, if the stock drops, it's past that price. You're in the hole anyway.
Got it. What about you, Ty? You had a couple of things in your portfolio that what's up in your portfolio that you could put a trail and stop on right now?
Right now I just have I kind of emptied out my portfolio a little bit, but I'm up on besides.
Wait, Ty, what do you mean emptied out your portfolio? What you sold off half of your, what did you sell off?
Oh, I sold off. Well, it hasn't been recently, so I kind of don't remember, but like.
So I really pause so that when you do that, please write it down. Like, have a stock book and write it down. Dawn, this is for you too, as you just starting out. Like, make sure you stay diligent, because that's how you kick yourself when these stock. Most of the time, if you're investing in quality stocks or even speculative stocks, they are going to have a run. There's stocks that I've invested in. I sold Riot Blockchain. I sold 50 shares for $1.16 January of last year. Riot is now, I think, $70. It shot up to $70. So, and it was one of the things where I knew it was tied to Bitcoin growth, and I still didn't follow up because I didn't write it down. So I stress that to everybody, man. Writing it down is so important in following your stock book. I know we get distracted and investing becomes a hobby, but you have to be disciplined and diligent on that, because you're throwing away money. Those stocks come back. So Ty, on that note, and the only reason why I stopped you, because I want you to go back into Robinhood and see your account history and write that down. Write down all of those things you've sold.
Okay.
Check where they are. Spend like 15 minutes. Check where they are now.
Okay.
And your stop book, what do you mean by a stop book? I'm not familiar with that.
I'm just saying a regular notepad where every transaction that you make, you write down, especially if it's something that, like you said, FTA. And if you look at the history of FT, of a future fintech, that's one of those stocks that is surged quite a few times.
Right.
So you want to write that down. If it's $5, you can start to look at it, and I'll show you on our offline conversation how to.
You're also gonna want to write down, because as you go along, there's gonna be so many companies that come across your desk. You're gonna forget what the company does, so you also want to write down what industry that company's in.
That's a good
I meant
point.
to get back into this industry. This is something I thought was really good.
Okay.
That's true. I was up on growing, my grow generation stock, GRWG is the ticker.
Yeah.
I was up about 30%, and now I'm up 0.26%. So I definitely missed out on putting that trail and stop on it.
Is there anything that you're up double-digit percentage on now that you can put a trailing stop on?
No.
Okay. All right. So the other portion of that is the stop loss. Like we're still buying stocks. When we buy stocks, make sure you put that stop loss in. Will's chart that he posted and is so great to see some of those stocks surging like Moderna. We was right there. I mean, that's one of those stocks where we had there's an algorithm that really gives you the buy and sell point of a stock. So you can cheat and use that percentage. It's not all relative to all stocks, but when you buy a stock, you should put a stop loss. So if you buy a stock for $20 and 10% is your stock, is your gauge for losing the amount of money that you put in, then you're gonna have to put a stop loss for $18 on that stock. And that's the way you should buy stocks. So I wanted people to really, really hone in on that and make sure that's a part of their buying strategy. Because just imagine all these stocks that have surged. If you've really been diligent on keeping your money, your growth, then you would stay ahead of the stock and understanding the volatility of it, and you'd also have more money in the bank.
I still am. Yes.
Yeah. So
I have my earpiece in.
So FFIT, FTFT, just to go back to that, Dawn.
Yes.
Last year around June, it jumped from $1.70 to around $3 in one day, and then it teetered around $2.50 a couple of months. It did another little spike in October, up to, I'm looking at the chart now, to 280. And then another spike up to $3 in December. And then at the top of this year, it started going down and it jumped from $1.88 all the way up to $7.60 in one day.
Yes.
And then it got a pullback, and then it went back up to almost $8 in January. Then it started coming down. February did the same thing, and this time it spiked all the way up to $10. And now it's coming down, and it went past its support line. So the support line based on that growth was around $4, and now it's at $3.39.
Correct.
So
Hey, you still want me to make a bottle for him midday?
so I'm sorry. Well, I thought you were saying something.
Still want me to make a bottle for him to take over there too, like for midday, or just gonna bring him?
Well, I think you're not on mute.
Yeah, the normal.
Will must went up. So I'm sorry, I thought Will was saying something. So on that note, that's the pattern that you look at for stocks like that, and we'll we'll talk offline on how to jump into that and when to jump into it.
So I'm thinking that what the analysts are saying, it might go up to maybe 6, 7. So I'm hoping to get, double what I put in. I've averaged down to like 432.
Mm-hmm.
So if it even goes up to 6, I'm going to try to take half of what I put in and then cash out, sell it, and then use that to buy, if I could, Apple or something else, like, I don't know, something else, but just get out of it, half of it anyway.
Got it. All right. So I wanted to really focus on that stop loss and trailing stops. That's when and Dawn, as you're getting started out, this is great to get into that habit. Like, know what you want to lose on that stock, know how you want to protect yourself when you're buying certain stocks, and make sure you have those alerts on your account as well.
So I have my account so that when it gets up to like 7 to sell half of the shares I have. So I have 200, so 100.
You're starting out.
Yeah.
So let's talk some stock tips, because this is the crutch in every investor's I should say really the monkey on our back in terms of investing, because everyone gets the stock tips and you want to do your due diligence, but it appears like a gamble when it's a stock that you don't know anything about and you have to do your due diligence. So I wanted to start off with a holding company and that I listed in the chat. Is called SR. The stock ticker is SRNGW, and it's a holding company. I'm gonna pull it up actually. Hold on one second. I'm gonna pull it up and share my screen. If everyone could just, while I'm doing this, go to SR, look at that stock ticker, SRGU. If you have access to do that on your computer or on your phone. SRNGW, actually.
SRNGW.
Yeah.
What's the stock name?
Soaring Eagle Acquisition Corp.
It's SRNG.
SRNG. Sam, Ricky, Nancy, Gary,
That's
W.
it. No W.
What's that?
There's no W.
You can do is both. It's three. It's a SPAC, so it's split into two different companies that they're trying to pull together.
Oh, okay.
So, does everyone have that?
Yeah.
So, Soaring Eagle Acquisition Incorp. It's a blank check company.
Yeah.
So that's what a SPAC is. Is billionaires that have made enough money off of the stock market where they are just looking to gobble up companies that that go public, that they can bring together and really exploit the business model or take advantage of a specific trend, but do it in a way where they acquire an entire company through the ownership of stock.
I'm getting sleepy. I can
So,
see.
so I got a tip on this from a guy that's been investing for years. And he told me, it's so funny, when he told me to buy it, if I was a jumper, I would have doubled my money. He told me to buy it was $1.77, and it just shot up to $3 when he told me to buy it. And I called Will, and I wanted Will to do some due diligence on it. Will's been heavy in SPACs initially, and just talking about them. Um, it's an interesting model of investing in SPACs because you're looking at penny companies that are not yet formed. So the risk is a little bit higher when you're talking about a SPAC, but this company per se was pretty interesting based on the money makers that brought this acquisition company together. These were the guys that were behind DraftKings. So they're used to this tango, and they're used to pulling together money for the sake of building companies through these acquisitions. So I was interested as I wanted to put this on everyone's radar. In all honesty, sometimes I dibble and dabble. Even if I throw a couple of hundred on a company that's speculative that someone told me to buy, so I'm not kicking myself for FOMO, for fear of missing out. But this is a company that honestly I have to do a little bit more due diligence before I push it out there as something that I think everyone should invest in. I think it's certainly something you should take a look at.
What did you mean by when you said it's a bunch of penny companies that haven't been they're not on the stock exchange yet, or they're not trading yet?
Yeah, so that's
Those are
what
the companies that they're looking at.
Yeah, so penny companies are not yet established, right? They're at a price for that reason. They're not yet established, and SPACs are blank check companies. So it's like you're a company that you don't even have a business model. You're looking to acquire. Your only purpose is to acquire other companies.
Oh.
So that's what a SPAC is. A special purpose acquisition company is the term, the SPAC. So I just wanted to talk about that and just have y'all do your due diligence.
What's that company do? Just a brief summary. What is that SPAC going to turn into?
They're casino. They're all in the same phase of and what's the word I'm looking for that there's hold on. because they have two separate companies. So it's the main company description. So what the reason why I didn't jump when my guy told me to, because it didn't list the executives. So when I'm investing in a company, I want to see the executives. I want to know who's behind it. I knew from the article that he had sent me that the guys behind DraftKings were responsible for it, but I like to do more due diligence to know who's holding this money, who's managing this SPAC. So it's in its infancy stage, Will. To answer your question, I was trying to get there's two separate companies that they're working with. They're in the computer communications equipment sector, if you will. But specifically in terms of what they're trying to do is still a little complicated. It's still too complicated to give you an elevator pitch on. So so I got to do some due diligence before I put it out there. But I just wanted to put it on everyone's radar so that they can look into it, and then when they're ready to go, it's not just a company that they're not familiar with. And then the next one, the next company is MVIS.
Did you say MVIS?
Yeah, that's the company that Vicky made 1,800% on.
Okay.
Those are the type of and Vicky, talk about that for a second, because what made you jump into that? Where'd you get the tip? What was give us the background on that? Because I'm interested in the company now when it's already caught.
But the tip, if I'm not mistaken, I got from the group. Someone had mentioned it. And so
I remember that actually when two people actually remembered it. I think Stuart was first, and he had a hell of a lot of shares. And then Rob or Kevin initially mentioned it, but I think they were kind of just throwing it away speculative. They were following one of their YouTubers. My question to you is, what made you jump in and purchase the stock? What did you like about it? Was it just, were you just taking the taking a leap of faith based on the collective input from the group?
I'm gonna be honest. I took a leap of faith, and initially when I purchased it, I thought it was part of a marijuana stock. And then when I looked at it, and I realized it wasn't, but it was moving. So I was like, okay, interesting. So since it, I got like 100 shares or so. So I was like, you know what? Let me just hold on to it for a while. Nice. So yeah, but I think I thought it was one thing and it was something else.
Wow.
Vicky, can you tell us one more time what the name of the stock, what the name of the company is in the stock ticker symbol?
Ticker M as in Mary, V as in Victor, I Indian as Sam.
Okay, thank you.
It's called Microvision.
Microvision. Okay, thanks a lot.
They handle the laser scanning technology for in 3D sensing, 3D imaging, and all that stuff.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
So
that's 3D imaging.
Yeah, and they went from $10 last week to they're $18 now. It's $10.14 to almost $18 this Friday. So talk about not riding the wave. So the next company, and this is a hot company, this is a Dolphin Entertainment. I put that in they mess around with the non-fungible tokens. So they do all the digital, that's the background and it's one of those companies that hit hot. It hit hot when they jumped off. When was that? A month ago? Let me see. Yeah, it went from $5 and shot all the way up to, well, $4 on March 5th and shot all the way up to $19. And then it went back down to 8, and now it's crawling back up to it's 1183.
Which what's the symbol on that?
DLPN. So it's a content production company. And its counterpart, Takung Art, is TKAT. It's a company that does non-fungible tokens, digital art. So they've been riding the wave. It's a hot element. We talked about it, non-fungible tokens, 2-3 weeks ago. But I think it's something that you pay attention to, because it's the future. You want to do your due diligence on those companies, and if it's something that you can jump in with a couple of $100 and hold on to, then I think it's worth being on the bottom end of a surging company.
Mm-hmm. I'm definitely going to look more into those 3 companies you just mentioned.
Got it.
I have a question for you guys. Does anybody hear anything about NIO? I think that's the name of that's a symbol. Let me just make sure I have that right. It's
that's the Asian version of Tesla.
That's
right,
yeah.
exactly.
We
so what do you guys think about that?
We were on that wave for when it started out. We initially got into it when it was hot last year.
Mm-hmm.
It's a solid. It has a solid business model, but it's not like Tesla. In the sometimes you just don't get the same stability with Asian companies, honestly, because they have that transfer over and they do a lot of manipulation. But I think in terms of you holding on to it and growing right now, I think it's like at where is it at, like $38?
I think it's at 41 now. Last time I checked, because I've been like paying attention to it, trying to decide if I should just jump in or what, So
it's 41, 43. I bought it last year at 15.56.
Oh my gosh, good for you.
Yeah, but I sold it. I sold it already.
Man, okay.
Yeah,
But you know what? I'm holding on. I think we all sold it. I'm holding on to electronic vehicles because, I know that that's going to go up. Tesla and all of them, most of them can't compete with Tesla, because I don't really believe that most of them are as advanced as Tesla. I started following this woman called Kathy Woods. She's with ARK, AARK. I'm sorry, ARKK is her. Most of her symbols are under that ARKK, and she's just really amazing. And she's been talking about Tesla, EVs, and general electronic vehicles. And so I've been like paying attention to that.
Yeah, Neo, if you go, we went over, I don't know if you saw it last week or the week before, actually, Dawn, you weren't on, but we went over a website called tipranks.com. And if you put Neo in, it can show you the forecast and the price target. It's some top analysts. A lot of analysts is from Oppenheimer, and they give you their stats on the analysts. If you go into, you can sign up for basic subscription where it's free. But it gives you kind of those price targets. And I've been using this for maybe 2 years now, just as a backup when I'm doing research and look at what they're saying. And it's been pretty spot on in terms of the growth. So you can see.
Good to know.
With Neo, they have a low of $38 and a average of $60 over 12 months. And then the high is $81. So you'd be essentially looking at doubling your money over the course of the year, according to the 10 top analysts that are rating this stock.
What's that site called?
Tipranks.com. TIPranks.com.
So Vicky, did you get back into Neo, or did you just like sell it all and you haven't gotten back in?
No, I didn't get back in. I actually bought it at 5 and I sold it at 14 and I never got back in.
Gotcha. Okay.
Mhm.
And
Well,
this is
I'm still in like one or two EV vehicle car stocks, but I don't think that the one I'm in, it was very speculative and it just rode up and I made money on it real quick. But now
Mhm.
I'm down in this Solo, that's Electromechanica
Okay.
vehicle. They haven't, I don't think they began production yet. Is that right, Terrell?
um no, they haven't. They haven't, not Solo.
Yeah.
And what's the ticker on that one?
SOLO.
SOLO, but I wouldn't advise. I mean, it's down like a lot right now. I'm
Gotcha.
actually down 40% to date because I had wrote it up so much, cashed out, which I did cash out half of it, and then yeah, but my average cost is still so much higher than what it's at now. So
I see. I
What is
see.
your average cost? Because according to tip rates, they're saying that high is $12. Right now is $4.32.
oh, my average cost is 717.
So that's the low, the 717. So you
But it
could
had
hold
rolled
on
up
to
to
that.
$12 before too. So how frequent are they updating this?
This in the last 3 months.
Tip ranks is based off of technical analysts.
Yes,
Technical. Okay. All right.
and not speculation. So that's a good point, Will. And that's why when you write stuff down, it gives you it keeps you engaged in that stock, because when you could sell stuff and forget about it, just as Vicky said with Neo, and even through all the hype last June when Tesla was doing the split and Neo was getting some residual growth off of Tesla's success, it's a good time to jump back in. But most people, they don't, once they make their money, they just move on. And it's good to write down and kind of see what you're doing, and take an account for how you're trading. If I'd like to have rules, and if you made your money, yes, it could be on to the next, but you want to start building your portfolio so you have balance. And that leads into the last agenda point, which is like swing trades versus long term. There's a thin line between what are you doing with stocks, whether you sell or not, when you've made a certain amount of money on the stock. And
Mm,
um, and that's why when it's a long term, you take 25% of the profits no matter what when it reaches a certain level. So um, some people have rules. I'd like, unless it's a stock that just has insane amount of growth on it. You talking about Spotify? Spotify is it's been growing crazy. Now Nvidia, Amazon, Microsoft, should even PayPal now with PayPal getting and growing and stuff. You're talking about stocks that you can hold long term and really build your portfolio to holding it, 5 years, depending on your cash flow and what you're using that money for. But I think it comes down to balancing out the stocks that are like that, those blue chip stocks. Most people, you got to ask yourself, does your portfolio reflect you? Is there stocks there that you really know that are things that you invest in? It's you really got to start looking at your portfolio like that. And that's my trick in terms of blue chip stocks. So things that are green, things that invest in green energy, that's what I do. So that's what I'm invested in. Sunrun, for example, I have solar panel Sunrun. I purchased them when they dropped and they went all the way down to $11. It's a company that I pay every month, or that I'm in tied to everything that they do. So I love the business of the company. It's a company that I want to own. So it's companies like that I want to push people to start owning in terms of your long-term purchases. And then when it comes to swing trades, taking advantage of these speculative growth, the speculative,
mhm.
even with cryptocurrency, even with Dogecoin. I mentioned early in the call that when it dropped 2 a.m. to 20 cents, you know, I don't know why I did. I mean, it's 2 in the morning, so I probably know why I didn't buy it. But I hate the ability of it not being, like it's just going all the time. So you can wake up to your money and not really you sleep. So you really can't do anything. But being in being having a sense of mind to take advantage of those dips is what I'm talking about when it comes to swing trading and that
Mm.
speculative growth.
Can I just add something really quick? Terrell mentioned about long-term stocks and stuff like that. When you're when you're looking at long-term stocks, we talked a lot about like the website. What's the website that you
Tip
mentioned?
ranks. Tip ranks.
Tip ranks. Tip ranks is something you would look at for these shorts. You can look at it for the long term as well. But a added feature that you should be doing when you're looking at long term stocks is the fundamentals. That's going to tell you whether it's speculative or not. When they have a strong balance sheet and stuff like that, you know, see what the company's doing and seeing if they're making money off of it. If they're not making money, which a lot of these EV companies are not, only Tesla's cash flow positive. So that means they're a great long-term stock. A lot of these other EVs companies, they're not making money. They're not even making the product. It's just an idea. So those are more speculative, and that's stuff you'll run into when you start doing fundamental analysis. So those are things you gotta like read up on, look at their balance sheet, see if they actually making money off of whatever they're selling.
Great point.
That's true. That's a good point. But why the heck are they on the are they trading if they ain't doing nothing, if it's just an idea?
A lot of stocks, all those mostly all penny stocks are just ideas.
Yeah. And remember, people use stocks as to raise money. Companies use
Yeah,
to raise money.
that's
So
true.
it's almost like a crowdfunding situation for some stocks until it becomes a profitable idea. So we got 15 minutes left. I just want to open it up to see if anybody has any questions. I wanted to get back on track. I know a lot of people are getting into their groove of whether it's preparing for the summer or whatever. So I've been talking to a few people offline, but I wanted to get back to the group where we are engaging each other in and you know the more the regulars are coming back on. I know Tracy's been out of winks, and maybe I talked about this last week. Maybe we need to find another time that may work better for everybody. So just stay in tune with that. If this is a good for everybody on the call, then good. But I want to get back into the growth where we at least have 10, 15 people on a call, and where we're engaging and keeping everybody accountable, because that's the real focus of this call, is to keep people accountable and keep everyone engaged in the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
Because too often, I think, as I said, it becomes a gambling type deal, and you apply those same principles. You apply those same. It gets you. It's that gold rush feeling when you're looking at a stock and you're thinking about the growth, and then you're following this pattern where you're missing out on the big growth stocks, and you got to ask yourself why. Especially, we've been on this call, we've been ahead of Neo, we've been ahead of MIVS just recently, Fubo, stocks that have done threefold growth and more. I mean, Wayfair, all of the stocks that we've mentioned on this call, it's about being in tune. Like we gotta switch speeds and be ahead of the curve. I want to get to a point where it's like, hey, this is a stock to invest in group. Legally, if none of us have our Series 7, you're not supposed to, pitch stocks to anybody, even a broker, if that's not your broker. But I think on investment groups, people threw tips for a reason. The first person that told me about Dogecoin was someone who I've invested with in the past. And he told me about Dogecoin in January, and I shared it with everyone. This is something to look at. And then he said, just buy. And because I trust him, I was like, okay, I just bought, and I bought it at 5 cents, and it jumped up. But now it's got me so interested in cryptocurrency, because day trading, I think you can day trade better with cryptocurrency, because the jump is just so crazy, and it's in your own time. You could be day trading 3 o'clock in the morning and so for example, if I would have purchased Dogecoin at 20 cents, I mean, I was at least going to put 10 grand at least. So it jumped up. By Saturday afternoon, it was 29 cents. So that's almost $5,000 that you can make, in a matter of hours. And you'd have to do more trades, day trading, to make that amount, unless you're leveraging more money than that. So
Is it a rumor that Elon Musk said that he sold all his Dogecoin today?
I didn't hear that.
I get this this YouTube alert from someone that I follow. It could be clickbait, but that's the title of the video. I'm about to Google it, matter of fact, because I just got that alert while you were talking about Dogecoin.
Mm.
They listening to me.
Yeah, so like 2 o'clock, it dropped down to 20 cents, and then the next day it went all the way up to 28 cents. That's 40% on your money that you could make in a day.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll pause it there. I mean, the overall goal of this call is folks to get back on that trail and stop that be your money manager, like stay on it. I say it from an experience of all the pitfalls that you fall into as a new investor, taking tips, buying companies just based on the fact that you got a tip and not really doing your due diligence. Knowing and studying too. Like, I think because it's like a new language, we sometimes don't know where to go to study stocks, but we had a few books that are even in the WhatsApp chat that you can download that are pretty good. It's boring stuff. That's the only thing. It's kind of boring unless you love numbers and you love investing. It's kind of boring, but it changes you if you can go back in time, and when you used to have to do those book reports for your school report on subjects that you really didn't like. If you can do that, you'll recover some of that information, and it'll make you a better investor. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Have you been on Coinbase? I know we talked about it last week a little bit, but have you been on it?
Been on it in terms of trading? Yes.
Trading, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm starting to take some classes on it. They got a couple of classes where you get some free coins and stuff, but during the first cryptocurrency wave, when Bitcoin shot up immediately in 2018, is when I brought some Litecoin through Coinbase and through Gemini, but I haven't been too active on cryptocurrency.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna get on Coinbase.
Robinhood makes it easy, even though you don't own the coins. I love that it makes it easy where you can just purchase it without the delay and ride the wave of that coin's growth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Dawn, let me ask you, where are you in stage of your investing? How long have you been investing?
So it's a good question. I started years and years ago, but I was like watching on the sidelines doing little or nothing. So I just really got started again in the last 6 months, just really starting, like, putting my feet in the water in a way where I'm really feeling a little bit more confident. I have a friend who was a trader on Wall Street, and he consults with me. Like, he sits down with me once a week to give me a crash course on what I should know. I've known him for years. I just never used him. And so now he's like, you know what? If you're interested, I'm ready to teach you. So that's
what
where I
was
am.
that hesitancy, if I may ask? What was
You know what it was? I just I don't really know, just ignorance, not understanding, not really knowing where to get started, not knowing how to. So I have like I had a few shares in a lot of things like Marriott, and I had some gold, and I had, what else did I have? I had AT&T, I had GE. So I have a little thing that I've been doing with E-Trade, but it's been sitting dormant because I haven't been paying attention to it for probably about 15 years.
Oh
And
my!
I know, I'm so
Do you still
embarrassed to
have
say that.
Marriott? Because I own Marriott now, but I own it at 145.
Yeah, when I first got Marriott, I got it at $12
Oh my goodness!
in 2008, and then I got again in like 2010 for $37.
Oh my! Now see, now that's the long-term investing, and that's where you need to be. That's the investing that is real. You talk about 12 years now. It seems crazy now.
Right.
Here I am, have 20 shares of Marriott for 145, and you brought it,
at
Well,
$12 and $37. I know, but but then I sold some of it, and I still have some. So over the years, I just like look at my Marriott and say, damn, what was I thinking? Because it could have been so much better if I had just gotten 500 shares back then. I've been doing great, but I didn't. And so
patience is the key, and really understanding the way things work. I mean, I think the fact that everybody's investing now is just a great thing. But the reason I asked you about that hesitation that you have, because we all have it. And I think one of the things that I want to go back to is the reason of this group. Just like Natasha invited you, that's what it's about. It's about you being in your offline conversations with your friends and saying, hey, I'm in this great investing club, and just giving them the bug and just pushing them to be like, hey, you need to get involved, get in this game. We've seen Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk become the richest man in the world in 1 year. And that was through stock. He didn't make extra money. Nothing really happened different with Tesla. They started selling more cars, but it was just the growth of his stock price that made him that much money. So, so that's the real key thing there. So we looking at 5 years down the line where we have our closest friends close to us, you know, even if they're just getting started, we have a whole unit around of us, people that are more savvy, including us, more savvy investors. It definitely takes time and it takes homework. And like I said, it's not the fun thing to do, but it's about understanding the markets and where things are going. So we're talking about NFTs now, like watch those stocks where they are, like keep a radar on what those stocks are going to be doing in a few years in the future. Right now you're at the ground level of some of these stocks, even marijuana stocks that people don't want to hold because they've plunged a bit, but it's about being in tune and having the patience and really diligence on researching the company and figuring out what's what's going to make that company tick and do better than its counterparts in that sector. So I'll pause there. I love it. This is a light group. Anybody have any questions or anything they just want to talk about stock wise? We have about 5 minutes left.
No, you gave me a lot to chew on. I definitely need to, even though you kind of drill it in our heads to do the stop losses, and I haven't yet to do that. As I buy more, I'm going to implement that right away as a strategy, and I'll make sure to know what I'm getting in it for, whether it's a speculative play, which many of mine are. And I need to get back into more blue chip. So these meetings have definitely been a learning process for me. And it takes a little while sometimes to drill it in my head to get to my plan, to actual plan, you know?
No, I mean, thank you for sharing that, because I think it's getting over that hurdle of the impulse buy that we have with certain stock. You got to ask yourself, why am I buying this stock? Do I know anything about the company? How long am I going to hold it? How much am I investing? You got to ask yourself like real questions, like 4 to 5 key questions. What does this mean for my portfolio? Could I be putting this money in a long-term, opportunity that I don't have to worry about? So I think you got to really look at it from that standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So guys, if you don't have anything else, I'll let you guys get on with your week. This was a light call, man. I'm glad that you guys are staying engaged. Dawn, I'm happy you to join us and staying committed. This is a
thank you
long-term process, and just you just let me know when. I think Thursdays is good for me. Thursdays and Wednesdays.
Okay, that's good for me too. If you want to just shoot me like I can give you, how should we connect? Let me know and I can.
Yeah, you could just text me. My cell phone is 917-816-6997.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Thank you guys.
You're welcome. Good.
Okay.
Thank you all
Thank you.
for these
All right.
meetings.
Okay.
Bye, guys. All right.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.